Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. Today we're going to look at something that I greatly appreciate. So, I've done quite a few of the Old Forester lineup. This was the last bottle that I kind of needed for the Whiskey Row series here to kind of fill that out. Now, I don't have any of the special releases or anything like that. I've done their regular rye, which I believe is 100 proof. So this is the last bottle. So I got the 1870, the 1897 bottled in bond, the 1910, the 1920. I have the regular signature series 100 proof and the regular, I think it's 86 proof bourbon. So I've kind of got the collection. This is the last one I needed. I bought this for $47.50 up in Billings. And so, yeah, so this one's the original batch, 1870 George Garvin Brown crafted batches of whiskey at 3022 West Main Street on Louisville's Whiskey Row by blending 3 distilleries warehouses to achieve quality and consistency. 45% ABV, 90 proof whiskey. So this is in honor of that. So now I got the entire Whiskey Row collection here, or series collection. And so far, I've been quite impressed with the Old Forester lineup. They don't have a miss, in my opinion. The 1920, I believe it was a little bit higher proof. I want to say that was like 110 proof, maybe. It was a little bit bitier and a little bit oakier than all the rest of them. Which, if you're not a fan of that kind of stuff, I could see how you could be turned off by it. However, the 1910 was a little bit lower proof and was a lot sweeter. They all have this viscous mouth feel, and they have a very dense nose on them. So, looking forward to getting into this bottle. We'll see where it goes, but to kind of round out the collection here, it's not bad. And the 1910 and the 1920s ones were a bit more expensive. They were here locally, they're like $62, $65, $67, something like that. I was able to pick them up in the 50s. This is just under $50, which is nice. Plus, if you're ever in Montana and you get a chance to buy whiskey or anything else for that matter, they don't have a sales tax, which is kind of nice. Unless you're there's 2 towns, and I don't know what the second one is. The first one's Whitefish. They have a resort tax. I used to live up there, and so it was nice. You drive, 10 miles, 15 miles south to Kalispell, and you could buy stuff without getting taxed. But up in Whitefish, you had to pay tax, which was always frustrating. But anyways, on the nose, it is a very, very dense. I'm gonna say cherry, but that might not be the right word. That might not be the right fruit, actually. It's just a dark, dense, dark fruit. So, like, if you mixed a dark Bing cherry with a plum, like a black plum, and almost a raisin, that's what I'm getting. And then that's mixed with an oily oak. Just a very, very dense nose. I really, really like it. What I get out of all the Old Foresters. Now, mind you, this is coming off the heels of that Noah's Mill I just drank at 114 proof, so that might impact this a bit. But I did rinse my mouth out as much as possible with some water. Yeah, cherry, just a dark, dense cherry with a tinge of sweetness to it. If you hear some grumbling in the background, that's my dog sleeping on the couch behind the camera. She tends to snore a bit. But man, I really, really am digging the nose. On the taste, now the taste is kind of surprising. I'm actually a little bit let down at the beginning. So now this might be impact from the previous whiskey, but it's a little watery thin for the first portion of the taste. It goes into a dense, sweet brown sugar in the middle, some graham cracker. The graham cracker fades into like a watery, sweet graham cracker with a hint of oak and kind of that clingy mouthfeel. So like the first part of the first sip was just a wash of watery, almost nothing before you hit some of those sweet notes. Based on that, I would have liked to have seen this at 95 or 100 proof. But again, there's a lot of things kind of impacting that right at the moment. So let's go in for a second sip. The nose, along with that dense, dark fruit, I'm picking up a graham cracker in there now after tasting it as well in the background. So kind of that grainy, dusty, graham crackery smell. Second sip. Okay, that changed up quite a bit. Second sip was very light fruit cherry forward for just a second or two, and then boom, it went instantly into a sweet, dense brown sugar, and then it went watery thin in the middle for a half a second to a second before picking up that graham cracker note, and then it was like a dense, sweet graham cracker finish with a bit of a clinginess to it because I'm still tasting graham cracker right now. So from that regard, I do very much appreciate it. This is hitting a little bit different than the other ones. I'm kind of surprised. For as dense as the nose is, I'm kind of surprised that the taste has some thin parts to it. And maybe, like I said, maybe that's coming off of 114 proof going all the way down to 90. That's making a difference. But it does have some flat spots in it. Last sip, let's see what happens here. Did a small Kentucky chew there. And it went flat, bumped up into that cherry and that sweetness. Then I picked up some ethanol, black pepper, oak tannin, spice. Then it went flat again, and then it went graham cracker with black pepper. So what I can say is that the nuance of this particular bottling is changing with each sip, which is kind of nice and leads me to believe that if I hadn't drank the other whiskey first, I might have been able to pick out more nuance, and it seems like there's a bit more going on there than the very first sip would have led me to believe. This might be an exploratory whiskey for a little while, or at least coming off the heels of nothing, it would present differently. So, in my book, in my regards, I would say that the 1870 bottling fits right in the Whiskey Row series. And I would say that it's a slight outlier, such as the 1920. So, like I said, the 1920 has a bit more of a bite to it, a little bit higher ethanol, a little bit of astringency in it. The 1870 has a little bit of flatness to it, but it does bring with it some nice dense cherry notes, a good sweetness, a little bit of oak, and a little bit of black pepper spice in there. And I think over time, through a glass, you'll find that those will change up, and you might pick out a couple of other flavors in there. That graham cracker was really, I'm really a fan of that note in particular. Kind of brings me back to childhood a little bit. So there you go. There's my review, 1870 Old Forester Whiskey Row Series. Like I said, they haven't really missed. So, like, I just got done shredding a couple parts of this, but it's not a miss. I would buy this again, especially at maybe not at $50. At $40, $45, I would definitely buy this one again. $50, maybe not. But that puts, there you go. Compare this to that Noah's Mill. That was also $50. You never know what you're going to get, and sometimes it's a gamble, but I'm not going to knock this one. I do like it. And Old Forester, they're Brown-Forman product. You're hitting it out of the park in my book. So that's my 3 cents on that. Yeah, drop in the comments down below where you can find a bottle of Old Forester 1874 in your area. Also, if you have any comments regarding 1870, if you've had it, like it, dislike it, can't find it, any of that good stuff. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Also, if you haven't already, please think about subscribing to the channel and drop in the comments down below if you've checked out any of my videos on other platforms. If you've been on BitChute, let me know if you've checked out Life and Whiskey on Minds or YouTube, and vice versa. If you've been on YouTube, did you see this on BitChute and Minds as well? If you have, I greatly appreciate it, so thank you very much. I have been watching my subscribership grow slightly, and I am still getting a lot of enjoyment out of this. I have 150 plus whiskeys now to enjoy and sample, and my wife can appreciate that as well. So yeah, there we go. Anything else? I don't know what else to say. Thanks as always. Greatly appreciate you watching, and you guys have yourselves a great day. We'll catch you in the next video.